Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve. So, I've been getting a lot of compliments from you guys of late. You've been sending me these messages on how I've been noticeably slimming down, and I have. You ready for this? I have officially lost nearly 60 pounds. 60. And you know what? And I got to tell you, the best part of it all is after struggling with my weight for 30 years, I can honestly tell you this, that losing it was one of the easiest things I've ever done. And I want you to meet the person and her amazing science-based program that helped me do it. Dr. Ashley Lucas, the genius behind the PhD weight loss program. Dr. Ashley, welcome. I am so excited to share you with my audience.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Turley. It is my pleasure to be here and my pleasure to help serve your community in any way. And first of all, congratulations on dropping about 60 pounds. Any day now, it's going to be right at 60.
Right. Yeah. I'm closing in on it. I'm on the tail end of it. So
That's right.
it's
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I have you literally to thank. Can you give us just a bit of your backstory and how you got into helping people get healthy like this?
Yeah, I was a professional ballet dancer and I struggled constantly with my weight in that field. You know, that sport's really tough. You're required to be extremely lean and physically fit at the same time. And my body just naturally didn't want to go there. So I had to force it. And as a result of me just always watching what I ate, everything fat free, exercising more than I could handle, I was injured all the time. And I was still told I was fat countless times.
Wow.
I had stress fractures in my feet and my back, and it was actually why I had to retire from that career. I was chosen to go and perform up in New York City, you know, which is every dancer's dream.
Yeah.
And instead of finding myself in the spotlight, I landed in the ER. I had no idea what was going on with my body. I thought I was having a heart attack. And after a whole bunch of tests, the neurologist came back and said I was simply underfed and overexercised, and I just could not continue the sport. And that broke my heart. It was my identity. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was flown home, fearful of my future for what was going on with my health. And it was a really tough time in my life. I didn't know what to do. And I considered medical school, but I don't deal well with people who are in traumatic, sick situations. I mean, my heart can't take it. And my husband's a physician. And so I see what that takes. And I definitely didn't go into that field for good reason. But I knew how significantly nutrition, or really lack thereof, impacted my own sport performance. So I went back to school and earned my PhD in sports nutrition and chronic disease because I wanted to help people overcome the challenges that I had. I wanted to understand how to drop weight without messing up your metabolism. That's what I did. I wanted to figure out how to do it so that you could actually keep the weight off for good. And then understanding that 80% of the journey comes from the mind. And so I studied the behavioral side of making big changes, and ultimately with that information was able to create PhD. After I earned my PhD, though, I went on and I studied at The Ohio State University. I went on and I taught there and teaching nutrition, and I understood how impatient I am. I love research, but I really needed to see dramatic change in people. So I did go back to school there again, and I completed my dietetic internship to be a registered dietitian because that's what I thought it took to become this master in nutrition and help people with weight management. But there was an issue in that schooling, and that is all the conventional wisdom we're taught about nutrition. We're told that to drop weight, we just need to eat less and move more.
Right.
You know, we're told to eat a specific number of carbohydrates to manage our medication with type 2 diabetes.
Right.
You know, and none of this made sense. I did all of that and it didn't work for me. I still was struggling.
Well,
So,
can I just because for 30 years I yo-yoed. I'm sure. I mean, you've heard this story ad nauseum, but I yo-yoed for 30 years because I always thought it was just weight loss was basically calories in, calories out, counting calories, right. What makes your approach so fascinating is you chuck all that out and it's all about triggering fat burn. It's triggering our body's natural fat burning mechanisms. Can you flesh that out a little bit?
Yeah. What we want to do is we want to teach the body how to burn fat for fuel, just like you said, and naturally get the body to work the way that it's supposed to. Our body loves to burn fat for fuel, but we just don't let it by the way we've been told to eat. The standard
Right.
American diet, the government's my plate, that it's just all bogus.
Right.
It's not for our best interest, and it doesn't allow us to let the body do what it's supposed to do. And so that's basically what I did with PhD, created this very simple approach where we teach you exactly what, when, and how much to eat, make it as easy as possible, but get the body in this fat burning state. And when you're there, you have no hunger, you have no cravings, and the weight drops off pretty effortlessly, doesn't it?
It's stunning, actually. When I read your book, one of the most fascinating chapters in there was when you talked about belly fat, and how belly fat literally is like this growth inside of us, this blob inside that provokes cravings,
That's right.
and therefore weight gain. Can you develop it? Because you've often talked about how this is not your fault. I know there's the theory out there. Are we fat because we eat, or are we eating too much because we're fat? The fat's already there, and it's like a blob that needs to grow, and that's its only purpose for existing.
That's
is
right.
to grow. And so much of that is what's behind these uncontrollable cravings. Can you develop that a bit?
Yes, I'd love to. So here's what happens in our lives generally when we're struggling with this excess weight is we have these triggers, and they change the way we tolerate our food. And so this trigger for a man might be a big job change, something stressful in their life, a relationship shift. For a woman, it might be pregnancy or maybe menopause, and they continue to eat the way they did before the trigger, but now it results in weight gain, and you're thinking, what the heck is going on? I bet for you, you're like, what is going on? Why am I packing on all these pounds? If I think about what I'm eating and what I'm expending, it doesn't make sense that I'm carrying 60 to 70 pounds of excess weight on my frame. I mean, it just doesn't make sense when you look at the numbers like that. And so what has happened in the body is the metabolism has switched. It no longer tolerates food the same way, and you start to pack on the pounds in the belly. And this belly fat, which is called visceral fat, fills up the organs, and it wraps around the organs, and it squeezes them tight like a straitjacket. So if you're carrying fat in your belly like you were, Dr. Turley, and we took a slice of your liver, it looked like a ribeye beefsteak. Right? That white marbling, that thick stuff around the outside. Well, after a time, this stuff actually grows its own blood vessels. It gets a little oxygen supply going for it, and then it starts to secrete its own hormones. So this fat mass that you're carrying in your belly has a mind of its own, and all it wants to do is get fatter as fast as possible.
Right.
And that's exactly what you are saying. You are eating because you're getting fatter. The fat needs the fuel. It's hungry.
Right.
It has cravings and demands. It has urges. So these cravings aren't necessarily your cravings. It's the cravings of this fat mass that's secreting these hormones that just want to help you get bigger.
Right.
It's almost like a tumor. That's what you explained. It acts similarly. It secretes hormones like interleukin 6, which is a major inflammatory hormone. And that's why you're at higher risk of breast cancer and general cancer and heart disease when you're carrying this fat mass. It's not just the weight, it's the actual hormones being secreted by it. In men, it secretes a hormone called aromatase, which is taking your testosterone and converting it into estrogen. So when you have belly fat as a guy, you're going to have higher estrogen levels and lower T, and you're going to start to continue to accumulate this fat in the chest, the throat, and the face. And so you're going to be at higher risk of high blood pressure and sleep apnea and snoring. So that's the deal with this fat mass. All it wants to do is grow. It makes you hungry. It makes you crave. It slows your metabolism so you can literally look at a beer and a piece of pizza and gain 5 pounds. You don't even have to eat it. And it makes you lazy because the last thing it wants you to do is go expend a ton of energy when you're not a lazy person, but this fat mass makes you feel like that.
Right.
So that's what's going on. And we don't understand that. That's why I don't think weight loss is your fault. It's this thing that just wants to grow. And if you only lose a portion of it, you're going to gain it right back because it's like
Right.
that tumor. And if you only get rid of a portion of the tumor, you know what's going to happen.
Right. 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 Yeah. One of the keys in this for me was the way I was able to do this without being hungry, to control those cravings. And
Right.
and the more I do it, the less hungry I get. That was what I found so fascinating. So the process of losing 60 pounds has been nearly 60 pounds has been unbelievably painless and easy.
Right.
Can you explain why that is? Why is PhD weight loss so effective in extinguishing cravings? Because that's what always killed my diets in the past.
It's just the way that we fashion your meal plan. So what we do is we created that customized meal plan for you, guiding you on exactly what, when, and how much to eat. And we look at the carbs and proteins and fat and give you the perfect combination so that you can burn fat for fuel, but also maintain your muscle mass, because your muscle mass is your metabolic currency. It is the marker for longevity. And as we age, we naturally decline in muscle mass, which is a huge issue. So if you're also trying to drop weight by just restricting calories or doing any of these injections, these medications that are out there like Ozempic or Wegovy, you lose a ton of muscle. And so you actually become a little skinny fat. And in the process, if you stop these drugs, then you get really hungry and it all comes back. You have to take these drugs for life.
Right.
But we can do this. The beautiful thing is you can do this naturally by the way that you eat, and you still get to eat delicious food.
Yeah.
But you have no hunger and you have no cravings. And then we're also understanding that a lot of it comes from the mind. So we can't just reduce calories or move more or take these drugs and not focus on what's going on up here.
Right.
80% is mental, emotional, habit, behavior. So that's why when we're coaching you every week, we're tackling that as well. That is the only way that you can drop weight and have a chance at keeping it off for good.
That was huge, because when I took a step back and I was trying to figure out in the end what was I missing, I think in the end this comes down to me, but I think in the end it was weekly accountability. It was just too easy for me to cheat. And so what I love about your program is that you hook us up with a coach, an accountability counselor. I've had Anna the entire time.
I love Anna.
I know you guys switch up counselors. I've heard that you switch up counselors with people, but Anna's been my go-to person the entire time. Huge shout out to Anna.
Yes.
She's the best. I know all your
let her
counselors
know.
are great. I know they're all great, but she's super great. All right.
She is.
So maybe everybody out there, you might hook up with Anna. She's wonderful. But every week I got to talk to her on the phone just for like 10 minutes or so, just to check in, weigh in. I get some great advice on any issues I'm having. So give us a sense of the role of that weekly coach, that counselor, that accountability, how that plays into all of this.
It's huge. Statistics show that 95% of diets we do on our own fail.
Yeah, there you go.
And the biggest reason why is because we don't have that accountability support, that skin in the game, someone just being our cheerleader in whatever the way that might be for you. Research also shows that people who just keep a food journal have 50% more chance of success than those who don't.
Right.
So the accountability piece is huge. And, I look at this as just hiring a coach in general. Anyone who's really great at what they do probably have a support system.
Right.
An athlete, even a recreationally active athlete, doesn't play without a coach behind them.
Right.
And for some reason, there's this stigma out there with weight loss that we should be able to do it on our own, that it's really not that complicated. You just need to eat less and get on that elliptical machine. You need to eat everything in moderation, which is bogus, by the way. And I think was coined by someone who's naturally lean, because the majority of us cannot do that. So there's nothing bad about asking for support and having that accountability. It's huge. And it's why we see our men, most men drop 3 pounds more a week. Most of our women, 2 to 3 pounds a week. It can happen quickly and it feels good. And then you have this outside perspective, because as you slim down, your needs change. So your meal plan hasn't stayed the same, right?
Right.
We continue to tweak it and change it because your needs change, and it needs that flexibility. And when you're trying to do that on your own, you have no idea You're trying to troubleshoot before you even need to troubleshoot. You get distracted, frustrated, you fall off, and the weight just comes back because you haven't really collapsed that hungry belly fat we talked about. So having someone to support you and having an outside perspective is the key to success in this.
Yeah. What's the old saying? He who teaches himself has a fool for a master. So I think I'm living proof of that. And then you've got the maintenance phase. That's when I'm just a few weeks out from that. So this doesn't end when we hit our goal weight. You actually, PhD Weight Loss continues to counsel throughout maintenance. Can you flesh that out a bit?
Yeah. So during the program, we have that weekly one-on-one coaching, support, and accountability. During that phase, not only do you just have support, but I think education is important. It's potential power there. So everything we've been taught about nutrition from the conventional approach is pretty much wrong. And so I'm sure it's blown your mind as to what you have learned about nutrition, about eating fats, and that fat doesn't make you fat, and you actually have to eat a lot more than you thought you should.
Right, exactly. That was
red meat actually doesn't cause heart disease for most people. You can eat a really great steak with butter and a glass of red wine and enjoy yourself, and it's okay. Eating the whole egg is actually healthier than just eating the egg white. So these are just, understanding all of this is really important. So during that phase, we're learning, but dropping the weight is one thing. Keeping it off is a whole nother aspect that most people don't recognize. It's a different practice, and you're not going to get that practice when you're dropping the weight. And so at PhD, we understand that. I'm into always having our clients as a part of a community. So maintenance support is free. It never ends. We're always by your side. And how that looks is that you just have our support in whatever way that might be for you. If you have questions, if you pop up a little bit, we're going to error correct and get you right back where you need to be as you're learning this new lifestyle in a maintenance aspect. So we have great success with our clients, not just dropping the weight, but keeping it off because they have that family, that community, and that support system just, for life, really.
And do you have some stats on that in terms of your what percentage of your clientele is able to keep that weight loss long term? Because that's to me, that's the devil in the details. You can lose the weight, but what percentage ends up just gaining it all back, right?
Yeah, most people who drop weight, I know I did share 95%, it just doesn't work. And of those who drop weight generally on their own, they regain that weight within about 6 weeks, which is wild, fast.
That's me, yeah.
For us, of those who participate in maintenance and continue to do the work and check in with us, 85% maintain their weight loss within 3 pounds. So quite a difference.
Wow. Gang. And this is the best part. Okay. Dr. Ashley is actually conducting a webinar on Wednesday, April 5th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And she's going to show you how to do exactly what I did. I'll be there too. I believe in this so much. So I'm going to be sitting there right with you, listening to Dr. Ashley. Gang, all you got to do is just click on the link below to register. Seating is limited, so don't wait. Click on that link below right now to sign up. And if you've been struggling with weight loss like I have, I promise you, this is literally going to change your life. I'm not preaching, I'm showing, right? I did it, and you can absolutely do it too. If you've been waiting to start a weight loss journey to better take care of your family, your community, be sure to click on the link in the description below to hear more about my weight loss journey and connect with Dr. Ashley about your weight loss needs as well. It's absolutely amazing. So, Dr. Ashley, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You changed my life, and I appreciate it so much.
Turley. Whatever I can do for you, I'm here.
Oh, thank you so much.